You're watching Sports Central on CBS 2, sponsored by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
And hello again, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Sports Central Saturday. I'm Jim Hill, joined by Terry Fatale and our new football analyst here on Sports Central, former USC Trojan running back, Stafon Johnson. Well, Stafon, welcome to the Sports Central family, man.
Thank you for having me.
It's good for you to be here.
Thank you.
And you know just a little bit. No, you know a lot about this one, don't you?
Hey, you know what? I'm just happy to be here right now, Jim.
You better believe it. Now, of course, Stafon, you are the head coach at Dorsey High School right now. But before then, you were a pretty good running back, a pretty good back at your own, right, when you went to USC and also in the NFL.
Not too bad. Not too bad. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be from Los Angeles and to be able to go through everything and it's to come full circle, like you mentioned before, and to come back home and to Dorsey and to a real prestigious high school to kind of benefit these youngsters in the inner city as much as I could.
I'm wondering what they're saying right now watching Coach on TV.
I love it. I hope they're out there watching it. I hope they're out there just rooting, man. I mean, I'm doing it for them. It's for them. It's for the cities, for the babies. To give them the hope to know that things can happen as well.
Yeah, keep hope alive. That is for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, Tarek. It was quite the inaugural game at the new San Diego Stadium, as we just saw right here on CBS 2.
Yeah, you know, I think it was really all about Arizona. You know, they took care of business 38-20, but really it's Jedd Fisch's new era. 37 of the 75 kids on the roster, new faces, a couple of them from Southern California, Rayshawn Luke from St. John Bosco, and Tech McMillan from Servite. So it was all Wildcats. They're a lot better and much improved team this year.
And you liked exactly what you saw.
Oh, yeah, you're playing fast, you're scoring points. What a better way to kick off a season than score a lot of points and get a victory?
And of course, we saw that right here on CBS 2. And let's talk about some other action going on, my friends, because today the college football season is kicking off in a very, very big way. But here locally, beginning with the UCLA Bruins, many are really hoping for Chip Kelly and that he can really get this program over the top in his 5th year in Westwood. And today they opened up their 40th season at the Rose Bowl against Bowling Green. All right, everybody, what do you say? Get the ice packs out, my friends, because it's a hot day in Pasadena, but not a hot start for UCLA. For Bowling Green, forced a 3-and-out on the opening drive, then blocks the punt. Charles Rosa recovers it for a touchdown. The Falcons are leading by a score of 7-0. On the following drive, the Bruins respond on 3rd and 3 from their own 32-yard line. Duran Thompson-Robinson escapes the pocket, scrambles for the first, but he wants more. He cuts back to the middle and finds his blockers on his way to a career-long 68-yard touchdown run to tie the game. Turk, that's amazing.
Oh, hey, it was a real bad start. So DTR gets on his horse and scores a nice touchdown, settles things down, 5th-year senior.
There we go. And then the Bruins are trailing now by a score of 17-10 now in the second. Thompson-Robinson throws a screen pass to Kashmir Allen, and he takes it 20 yards right up the middle for the score to tie it now at 17-all. Now we go to the first play of the next drive. Thompson-Robinson gets it to Keegan Jones, and he breaks out for 52 yards and gets just enough to the pylon for it to count for 6. UCLA is on top now, Stafon, by a score of 24-17.
Absolutely. Way to show his versatility of catching the ball out of the backfield and be able to finish and get in the end zone, get some paint on your shoes.
You better believe it, that's for sure. Now the lead is now 31-17 with the clock winding down in the 3rd quarter. Zach Carbonet takes the short pass and gets inside the 10-yard line. And Thompson-Robinson really starts the 4th by keeping it himself on the ground and picking up his 2nd rushing touchdown. UCLA gets the win, and a win big by a score of 45-17. A good way to start the season for the UCLA Bruins, that's for sure, as they get their first victory of the year at the Rose Bowl. Special teams still need some work, we all know that, but the run game was very good with over 250 yards on the ground. And Bruins quarterback also having a strong first game.
We wanted a W, and we don't ask for anything and don't prescribe anything about what's going to happen as the game unfolds the way the game unfolds. We've talked to our players about responding, and I thought they did respond. We dug ourselves a hole, but we didn't continue to keep digging. We fought our way out of the hole. We were down 17-7, we ended up winning 45-17. So it's a credit to those guys.
A lot of guys on this team have been through this so many times. I've said this before. We have a lot of 3rd, 4th, 5th-year guys that have been in the program. And they know how to be college athletes. They know how to be football players when stuff gets hard and not go in the tanks and everything. So I couldn't be more proud of my team for that. Just the maturity level out there on the field for sure.
And for more on today's game, let's go to our Jill Painter-Lopez, who is live now at the Rose Bowl. Jill?
Jim. Thank you very much. Well, UCLA down by 10, made a lot of mistakes early, and then, of course, they score 38 consecutive points to win this game on an absolutely blistering day of 104-degree temperatures, of course, here on the field. More than that, and joining me is Dylan Hernandez, sports columnist with the LA Times, to talk about this one. Again, a lot of mistakes, but they did come back and win big against Bowling Green. Your overall takeaways?
Yeah, in the end, the talent won out, and not just the talent, but kind of the experienced talent, right? I mean, when you think about UCLA and this team, I mean, one of the reasons they have these expectations, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, fifth-year starting quarterback, Zach Charbonnet, the great running back, ran for 111 yards. Those guys really kind of took over, and as the game kind of went on, you really did see kind of the difference in talent, right, I think, and depth also, where Bowling Green's players started cramping up and UCLA just kept going and going.
I think Dorian Thompson-Robinson said, that the cramping for them was an issue, and he really credited their training staff. We look at the mistakes, though. So many mistakes, it's hard to talk about them all, but special teams was pretty bad. We look at a couple of missed field goals. We look at a punt that was blocked, returned for a touchdown. We could go on and on. Your thoughts on why there were so many mistakes and if this could be a troubling trend for UCLA?
Yeah, and I think when you look at the totality of kind of the Chip Kelly era, I mean, they have been defined by, these self-inflicted wounds. And I think that if you look at, it depends on how you want to view this game, right? I mean, I think Chip Kelly took the thing that, hey, we dug ourselves a hole early, we're able to get out of this. But I think, longtime observers of this program are going to be worried thinking, you know what, those are the types of mistakes they've made in the past. And, what happens if they make them against a team who they just can't out-talent, right? What happens if they do this against Utah? So, yeah, I think it's a pretty, until they prove otherwise, to me, this is a problem.
And then another problem, I think, for players was, it was a bit of a bummer with the atmosphere here today. It was hot. We'll give them that. It was an 11:30 kickoff. Students have not started school yet, so a lot of contributing factors, but 27,000 plus, the lowest attendance ever for a UCLA home football game here at the Rose Bowl. Your thoughts on why that is and if that could be another trend?
Look, I got here at 8:30, and it was hot then, right? And obviously people that went to UCLA have a UCLA degree. They're probably thinking, okay, they're smart enough to know, hey, if I stay home, I might not get a heat stroke, right? Now, that said, again, what's kind of disconcerting here is that when you look at this in the context of the last decade or so, I mean, things have slowly been trending in this direction. And so the fact that, after setting, right, lows last year and that you're having another low, that has to, again, be a concern that, optimism about this program is really running out.
Okay, well, we're going to let you get back into the AC of the press box so you can write that column. Thanks again for joining us.
No, thank you so much, Joe.
All right, Jim, back to you.
All right, Jill, thank you very much. And I can concur. I was out there earlier with both of them. Believe me, it is really hot out there, that's for sure. All right, my friends, when we think about it, Stafon, the UCLA running game starting strong with 269 yards rushing against Bowling Green today. That is really a thing of beauty.
That's very, very much so. I think that when you're able to get these type of running backs and these type of yards on these different plays, especially on a hot day, the first day out, it kind of smooths them out, kind of make sure that they don't have as much jitters in them, and it kind of makes sure that, let DTR do what he do best, and came in with 2 touchdowns on the ground and 2 touchdowns in the air. So that's a wonderful thing.
And with it being as hot as it was out there today, then you got to keep the fluids in you as well, or you'll cramp up. Absolutely. And they did a great job with Kashmir Allen getting some touches, and also Zach Charbonnet getting some touches as well. He's a local kid, and he's actually just being able to punish them. And I think that they said that they had a lot of fatigueness going on, and that can do that when you have 200 plus yards going. Better believe it. Tarek, okay, boy, let's go to you right now. What do you think about Dorian Robinson today and what he did?
He's been around a long time. Sometimes I look down, I'm like, 5 years. I mean, the guy's been around for a decade. What a veteran. But, hey, he mentioned it in the press conference. I think he was just more encouraged by the way they responded. It was a horrible start. That's the best way to put it. 3 and out, huge block punt, turns into a touchdown, and he comes out and he himself runs for 60-plus yards and gets a touchdown, settles them down. So, big day for him, and I think what we have to take away from a performance like that is throughout the year, when UCLA's in some sticky water, hot water, it's going to be DTR that needs to get them out.
Because they have to really rely on the fundamentals and just doing what they are supposed to do instead of trying to improvise.
Yeah, again, fifth-year senior, touching the ball every play. You're going to look to your leader. He's one of them.
And you're happy to see what you saw.
I definitely was. I think that the defense definitely settled down in the second half. Coach Norton and staff definitely did a great job of making sure that they just settle down and just play football and understand that it is the first game and heat aspects come into play as well. So they did a great job to settling it down.
So they are comfortable right now over in Westwood. That is for sure. All right, my friends. And as you know, it's a great first weekend of football when top 25 teams already are facing each other. And it's personal for Georgia as their former defensive coordinator, Dan Lanning, is Oregon's new head coach. And Cincinnati hasn't lost a regular season game since 2019. Isn't that amazing? They've got a tough one today against number 19 Arkansas. Plus, we're also going to tell you about the new 12-team playoff coming system coming to college football. We'll have that for you. And how about this? Of course, SoFi Stadium will play host to two season openers next week. We'll check in with the Chargers and the Rams as they get set to open up the 2022 NFL campaign. All that and more when we come back right here on CBS 2. Welcome back, everybody. Roman Wilson in Michigan hosting Colorado State at the Big House. Just a second offensive drive for the Wolverines. Wilson takes the screen pass and turns up the field. He gets a couple of blocks and sheds a few defenders on his way to a 61-yard touchdown to start their season. Michigan up 7-0 in the first quarter. Now the Wolverines up 13-0 now in the second. Baker Corum just ran for 19 yards, and now he bounces outside the defense to finish the drive into the end zone to extend the lead to 20-0. Second half now, and Colorado State really trails 23-0. They go for it on fourth down, but the ball is knocked loose. DJ Turner is there to scoop it up. He gets down the right sideline and takes it 45 yards back to the house. Michigan rolls over Colorado by a score. Colorado State by a score of 51-7. Meanwhile, the big early matchup today featured the defending champions from Georgia taking on Pac-12 powerhouse Oregon. The Bulldogs come into the season ranked third, while the Ducks are the number 11 team in the country. Here we go. A sold-out and raucous Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The site new head coach, Oregon right there, Dan Henning, taking on Georgia, where he was the defensive coordinator. Georgia with an impressive 12-play drive on the opening possession, capped off by this lad McConkey 9-yard touchdown run. The Bulldogs take an early 7-0 lead. Now the Ducks are now trying to mount a drive of their own. Bo Nix looking deep down the left side for Stafon McGee. But look at this play by Georgia's Malachi Starks. What a pick that is, Stafon.
That was a great play right there. Big players make big plays, and to be in that stage right there to get an interception at a big time, that was perfect.
That really helped his team out. That is for sure. You better believe it. Look at that balance. Meanwhile, Georgia drove the ball downfield once again, and Stetson Bennett runs it around the end from a yard out to double the Bulldogs' lead. It's now 21-3 Georgia, late second quarter. Bennett scrambles to his right. Then he's flushed back to his left, but he somehow escapes the pressure and finds McConkey open for another touchdown. What a play. The Bulldogs pummeled the Ducks by a score of 49-3. Yeah. Boy, when you think about it, this Bulldogs team clearly upset it's not the number one team in the country. Stafon, I hear you have a soft spot in your heart for Georgia, right?
I guess the cat's out the bag. Yeah, well, the dog's out the bag, I guess.
The dog, yeah.
Yeah, I have a very close relationship with UGA. You know, Kirby Smart, the head coach, was a running back coach, the running back coach at that time when I was coming in as a recruiter, and I was getting heavily recruited there. So I have a little soft spot with Georgia. That was my second choice besides USC.
And I know you kind of go along with what he's saying.
Well, hey, you know what? If I'm Dan Lanning, I'm a little embarrassed. I mean, you were the defensive coordinator at Georgia, and then they dropped 49 on you at Oregon. That's a tough outing for the Ducks and that fan base. And what a tough outing as your debut as a head coach. That's a tough one.
When you see things like this in college football, and knowing you have been there and done that,
absolutely,
you know exactly what's going on, don't you?
Absolutely. I think they jumped out in front of them early on, and it kind of gave them a situation where they had their hometown advantage, and a lot of things played against Oregon at this point, you know. And I think that they just they'll be able to bounce back off of that, have a good week of practice, and be ready to face the next opponent.
Because when you think about it, this is kind of like a feeling out game for both teams when they're starting so early in the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think opening season of any sport, you're kind of chasing ghosts. You just really don't know. You practice all you can, but until you get out there and play and you're between those lines and you're facing a different opponent than yourself throughout the practice, things change very quickly.
As we just mentioned, we are just getting started, that's for sure. And when you think about it, my friends, big news in the sport this week as the College Football Playoffs Board of Managers unanimously voted to expand to 12 teams in 2026. It really could happen as soon as 2024 if the process is accelerated. The format will be the 6 highest-ranked conference champions and 6 at-large teams. The rankings of the teams will continue to be determined by the CFP selection committee. The playoffs will begin on either the 2nd or the 3rd weekend of December, and the quarterfinals and semifinals will be played in bowl games on a rotating basis. The championship game will be at a neutral site, as it currently is under a 4-team format. All right, Stafon and Tarek, let's talk just a little bit about this, because this is a change, a big change in college football with the new playoff format. I'd like for you to talk about it first.
I wish this was going on about 15 years ago. I could trade in my Rose Bowls for national championships, but I think this is definitely good for our program, for college football in general. Everybody gets a different chance. I think that a lot of things that happen early on in the season affects them, later on. So I guess let's give them a chance to show that they got better in time and be able to try to get the national championship.
Watch this. If this format was around when you were in school, my friend, how many championships would the Trojans have won?
Well, I had 3 Rose Bowls, so I'm gonna say 3 national championships as well. I'm gonna go with it.
Yeah, that's confidence. I tell you what, going to that 12 team, it says it'll be accelerated. We could see it in 2024. I think we're gonna see it in 2024. If you catch my drift, I don't see it taking that long to get this thing going. It seems like a no-brainer. And with the 4-team format, we always seem to see someone on the outside looking in. Well, when there's 12 teams. We're going to see those teams play each other now, and there won't be any of that, if we were in there, they're going to be able to play and show it on the field. And
it's going to make college football even more exciting if that's possible.
I think that gives it that niche. That gives it the extra niche that nobody else can provide. Kind of like the Final Four in a sense in basketball. It kind of gives you that the opportunity to, like I said, if you messed up in the beginning of the season, you can come back and finish those wrongs.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no,
you got something
I was just
to
going to say, not to mention, kind of like the NCAA tournament in basketball, you see programs that usually don't see each other face off, and not only are they facing off, but there's something to play for, and that makes things real exciting.
Hang high in your conference.
Yeah, and it makes it a lot of fun as well, too. All right, my friends, what do you say we talk about some pro football high hopes for the Chargers this season after adding a number of key players, including running back Sony Michel. Our own running back Stafon Johnson will give us his insight on this new edition when we come back. Plus, the NFL's opening night, can you believe it's just 5 days away as the Rams will lift their championship banner at SoFi Stadium before their season opener with the Bills. We'll have all that and more for you when we come back right here on CBS 2.
First down at the 14. Running it, Michel. Untouched so far. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, New England.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, we all know Sony Michel was not a fan favorite for the Boat fam after scoring 3 touchdowns in that AFC Division playoff game for the Patriots in 2019. But that all changed this week as the Chargers signed the fifth-year running back and quickly put him to work. That is for sure. Michel is a 2-time Super Bowl champion, most recently a part of the Rams' backfield last year. He lodged nearly 1,000 yards from scrimmage in 2021, and after being cut by the Dolphins just last week, Michel sees this as an immediate chance for redemption.
A cool opportunity, one that's, slightly familiar, but not too familiar because it's a whole different organization. And it feels good. I'm excited and can't wait to get it started. This is a huge opportunity for me, just to be a part of a great team, a great organization, and to, get a chance to be a part of something special. All the running backs on this roster are guys that can do special things with the ball in their hands, great people off the field, and I'm just glad to join a great group. I think, when you hang around good people, great athletes, it helps you elevate yourself.
Oh, he is so right. Ram fans remember Michel's contributions last season as he was quite good out of the backfield for the Super Bowl champions. The Chargers hope he will round out a very solid running back core, joining Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly in the backfield. All right, Stafon, why is this such an important acquisition for the Chargers, especially this late in the preseason?
I think that being able to give Eckler a break, you know, and somebody that's a vet that's been in the game for quite some time and has done many different things in his NFL career, to be in there to catch the ball at the backfield, to be able to be a great pass blocker like he is, and also be able to run the rock. I think that having all three of those intangible things is definitely a plus in any given situation.
And also, there's this adjustment that has to be made with terminology as well.
Absolutely. One thing about football is like it's the concept of things are always going to be the same, correct? So once you get used to the different concepts and understanding why they say certain things and what these different teams are saying, it goes right in hand. So he's a vet. He's been around for a long time. He's been under Tom Brady. So I think there's nothing too much about it.
Yeah, if you can adjust under Tom Brady, you can adjust under anybody. That's you better believe that. All right, Tarek, when you look at this offense as a whole, we could be seeing some record-breaking performances here, couldn't we?
Well, when you got Justin Herbert, you know, he's the motor, so you can go as fast as you want. He can throw it from side to side, and he can throw the long ball, too. So, again, we talk Justin Herbert. We know he's kind of on the MVP watch list. And sky's the limit for the Chargers in this offense.
And there's some high expectations. I'm not talking about just getting into the playoffs and maybe just there's a lot of Charger people and there's a lot of experts that are talking about the Chargers going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think the three teams that are favored to win the Super Bowl right now are the Chargers, the Bills, and I think the Rams. So those are the three teams that everyone's got their eye on. Chargers, it's almost kind of like no excuses. They better produce and they have to perform.
What do you think right now is the strength of this team?
Man, that's a good question. I think it's the offense. I mean, the defense is really good, too. They just got Derwin James, and he's the best paid safety in the league. So I would say the offense, man. And if you can score a lot of points, that's going to help. But, yeah, I think you got to play defense, too. That's a tough question to answer.
Better believe it, and we're going to have all of that for you right here on CBS 2. That is for sure. All right, my friends, when you think about it, the Chargers will open up their season at home against the Raiders next Sunday. How about that one for a beginning, right? The 11th, with the kickoff is set for 1:25 in the afternoon. That's a game you can watch right here on CBS 2, followed by a very special Sports Central with Hall of Fame quarterback Dan Fouts, live right here in studio. All right, everybody, now to the world champions, and the Rams are less than a week away from their season opener as they kick things off against the Buffalo Bills at SoFi Stadium. That will be on Thursday evening. Now, the Rams are coming off a season of dreams as they won the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But that is how they're going to look at that behind them right now and look ahead to repeat as champions against a team favorite to win it all this season.
It's an excellent team. There's a reason why you see a lot of the outside-in narratives have them as one of the best teams in the NFL, and I think that's earned based on the consistency that they've played with. Got great players, great coaches. They've added some nice pieces on both sides of the football. They're sound in teams, and so the first game of the year is always a unique thing.
All right. A long season set to begin for the Rams, that's for sure, starting this Thursday against Buffalo. And here are some of the other key games for the champions. A rematch of the NFC Championship game in week number 4 in San Francisco, plus matchups with the Cowboys and Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there's also that all-city matchup in week 17 against the Chargers. All right, Stafon, the Rams do most of their damage in the air. But what do you think they have to do in the backfield? Because they've got some great backs there with Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. I
think the running game complements their passing game. I do a lot of play-action passes with their offense, and then Stafford is very, very dangerous when he's in those positions. I'm really anxious to see how healthy they become. I think the name of the game is being available, and I think their availability is going to determine, the success of this football team. I love Akers, the way he's explosive. I love Henderson as well. I think that they're able to stay healthy, that the league is in trouble.
And there's still the question mark around their quarterback and his passing hand.
Right, we've kind of talked about it, that, the elbow, right? One bad game, now all the questions are going to come out. Hey, man, are you okay? Are you healthy? He'll be just fine. He's a championship quarterback now, and there's a different kind of pressure with the Rams, right? Defending champs, how are they going to be able to handle that, knowing every team's going to give them their best shot? Home opener, they're underdogs against the Bills. I mean, what does that tell you?
That tells me that they're going to be mad.
Exactly.
They are going to be very, very angry. All right, my friends, stay right where you are, because coming up next, we'll be joined live by modern-day coach Bruce Rollinson and linebacker Latavius Sua after their huge win last night over Centennial. And we're going to check in on tonight's biggest high school football matchup. USC-bound Malachi Nelson and Los Alamitos taking on an opponent from Arizona. We'll have all that and more for you when we come back right here on CBS 2.
Play of the Day, sponsored by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
Moving up, running for it. Thompson Robinson has the first down, still straddles the sideline, cuts it back. DTR inside the 20. He'll go. Touchdown, UCLA.
Coming through to block it.
Welcome back, my friends. A big game with the state and national implications last night between Mater Dei and Centennial out in Corona. Quarterback Elijah Brown threw for 3 touchdowns while the defense kept the Huskies in check the whole night to the tune of a 43-20 victory. Absolutely amazing. All right, now, and joining us now live from Santa Ana is Mater Dei head coach Bruce Rollinson, along with his star linebacker Leviticus Sua. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. First of all, congratulations on the big win last night, Coach. That had to be one of the highlights of your coaching career, wouldn't you say?
You know what, Jimmy? It was a great one. It's good to hear your voice again. And thank you for getting our great high school on CBS, and thank you, CBS. Yeah, you know what, we had to go back-to-back, Jim. We went out to play Gorman out in Nevada, and they were highly ranked, and then turn around in another heat wave and play Corona Centennial. But we found a way to just get up again and do what we do, and it was great performances by individuals. You mentioned Elijah. This guy sitting next to me, Leviticus, was outstanding again last night.
Speaking of the guys sitting next to you, a big game yesterday for you, Leviticus, including a safety. I'd like for you to talk about how you are adjusting to all of this pressure that many people are putting on you to win week in and week out.
I feel like it's a really great opportunity, and I'm really blessed to be able to be a leader on this football team with such great coaching and be able to have my input on the team and what we want to do, especially from a defensive standpoint. I feel like our game plan was on point, and we executed last night and were able to get the win.
What's the best thing about your club?
You know what, Jim? We're, believe it or not, we're really young. I think Leviticus has 2 other seniors on the entire defense. Yeah. We're playing freshmen and sophomores and highly talented kids. Best thing on the club is I like this group. The chemistry is developing. Leaders like Leviticus are taking over, and I like watching it gel together. You remember that when you played. You know, the locker room is important, and I think they're starting to get what it is to be a true 3-striper, a true Monarch.
Leviticus, Corona Centennial is known for a fast-paced offense. Everyone knows that. How did you prepare for that, and what was it like maybe stamina-wise with the Heat dealing with the pace of their offense?
Biggest thing for us was our scout offense. They really put us in the best situation, going through it every day. They were running that fast, no-huddle offense that Centennial likes to run. They really prepared us well. And coming off of that hot Bishop Gorman game, it was really hot out there, and it was hot again in Centennial. It cooled down a little bit in Centennial, so it wasn't as bad as Gorman, but it was a good game to play in.
Coach, when you think about it, quite the duo on offense for you yesterday as your quarterback, Elijah Brown, connected with wide receiver Marcus Brown for not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns. That's the hat trick in football, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, Elijah, we've had him since he, was a true freshman, and I don't want to jinx him, but I think he's 20-0 now. He hasn't tasted that bitter taste of defeat yet. But he's got a great offensive line in front of him, Jim, and they opened some run lanes. The play-action game was very, very well executed last night. And then he was throwing dimes. Marcus is an excellent wide receiver. We have Marcus Harris on the other side, Jack Wrestler. We got another core of good receivers, and then 3 great running backs we can throw at you. But we can move the chains and score points.
Oh, that's really amazing. Coach, you're ranked number 1 or 2 in every poll in the nation, and you will face the other top-ranked team in St. John Bosco next month. What a matchup that will be for us to look forward to, isn't it?
Come on, Jimmy. I knew you'd bring up St. John Bosco. Yeah, I mean, I think they're